is focused on. Now, design, it's all about innovation, but how innovative is it for older people? Both Paul Campbell's father and grandfather were designers at Ford, and now he's created a high-tech wheelchair inspired by his late father to address the needs of those with reduced mobility. Paul Campbell and Tom Stables, who are designers at the Design Age Institute, both join me now. Welcome along.
Thank you.
Paul, can I start by asking you, Paul, about this wheelchair that you designed? I said it was in memory of your late father. Just tell us about it.
Well, I designed the wheelchair about 5 or 6 years after my father had died, so my experience of helping somebody who has to live with using a wheelchair was some years before I actually started thinking about designing the thing. And I mean, it was just the usual. He was home alone. He had limited mobility. Had to stand up, walk around. Couldn't walk around, but could transfer from chair to chair. And it was trying to give him a normal daily life of sort of like taking him to restaurants, bringing him home for family meals. But you start to realise that wheelchairs just don't fit normal domestic furniture, and you definitely can't get a wheelchair under a dining table. So when I was posed the task of designing a wheelchair for Centaur Robotics, the thought came to me that it really should be based on something that could fit a dining table. So based on dining chair proportions. And the key to getting it to fit a table is to get your feet on the floor. And then you can, if you can get your feet on the floor to move about, you need feet to be raised. So you need to scoot the chair back away from the table and then be able to lift it. And the lifting mechanism can raise the seat up to about a foot, or 30 centimeters. And that brings the seat to about a bar stool height. So there was a lot of flexibility in what the chair could potentially do. Being at a bar stool height, you can get to kitchen worktop heights. You can be eye-to-eye discussions, or being narrow and the width of a dining chair, you can easily get through doorways, move around the house. And the key to actually getting the maneuverability was to have it balancing on two wheels, which enables it to spin on the spot. And the trick then would be to get the software to actually control the chair sufficiently accurately so that you have total control over it and feel safe.
Had this design been in existence while your dad was still alive, what difference do you think it would have made to his quality of life, Paul?
I think he would have loved it. He certainly loved new products and gadgets, and this would have suited him down to the ground.
Paul, tell us about the Design Age Institute. Tom, tell us about the Design Age Institute and how Paul's design fits into what you do.
Sure, thank you. I'm from Design Age Institute, and we're based at the Royal College of Art. And we are a 5-way partnership looking at the experience of aging and trying to use the power of design to change that experience of aging in homes, workplaces and cities. And as part of that, we work with companies. So we do Pathfinder projects with 6 different companies this time, and we've got some more Pathfinder projects coming around this year. And we work with companies who are doing something really interesting and then try and add design to that and contextualize it and enhance it and look at how we can have greater impact on the experience of aging. So, for instance, with the chair, we looked at how to design the interface for it and how you control it, the sounds it makes, how it communicates with the world, and how that could build on the design that Paul had already done. So his design is fantastic in the way that it references the person you were before you needed a chair. So the fact that you don't want to sit at a new table now that you're in a wheelchair, the fact that you still want to talk to people at eye level. So we tried to create a soundscape, for instance, with the chair that doesn't beep when you reverse because you've never done that before. It just makes the sound of the chair and it alerts those around you to the fact that you're coming. And that very much fits in with the other projects that are on show at the Design Museum at the moment, all the Pathfinder projects. So, for instance, there's another project which allows you to diagnose hearing loss through listening to birdsong. So rather than being in a medicalized environment, it's something that's natural and references something you might be interested in anyway. And so, yeah, it's very much trying to do projects that will change the experience of aging through design.
Tom, your institute, as you beautifully explained there, doing some really fascinating work with technology, very much focused on helping, improving the quality of life for the elderly. How much of a gap is there, though, in this world, in innovation specifically for older people?
I think that it's changing, and I think we're trying to change it. I think that any medical situation or aging, it's a situation that happens to you, and you often find yourself in a situation that you didn't choose with a product you don't want. And the products are designed out of necessity, and so they capture your frustrations and needs, but not your aspirations, desires and wishes. And that's all part of being a person. And so I think that as long as there are people trying to design aspirational products that will factor in the whole person rather than just the thing that they're trying to fix or help with or support the aids, but as long as it's a product that you would normally expect to buy, the future's quite bright for this kind of product. And I think that the generations that are becoming older now are very different to the ones in the past. And, it's a consumerist generation and used to having considered well-designed products. And that doesn't need to stop just because your needs have changed.
Yes, many of us much more tech savvy. Just a final thought, Paul, from you. It sounds like an incredible creation that you've made, this new design of a wheelchair. It's not cheap, though, is it?
It's no, it's not. It's not cheap, but it's relatively cheaply priced compared to equivalent levels of technology. So it's pitched at around about £6,500. That's price is under review as we continue to develop towards the final production and launch of the product in June next year.
Okay, listen, really good to have you both on. Thank you for joining us, Paul Campbell and Tom Stables. You're listening to Raya Al Salahi on Times Radio and 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 Salahi on Times Radio.